welcome to Festpod, the unofficial Download Festival guide. I'm Neil Wilkinson. This is the place for news and rumours about the festival, advice for going, and where you can have your say too. So now let's welcome my fellow host, Lee Ellingham. How are you doing?
I'm absolutely buzzing, to be fair. This week, because of the lovely weather as well, I thought I'm going to do a bit of reminiscing of downloads gone by. So I've looked up all your old videos on YouTube. I managed to dig out some of my old photos and videos on my computer. I've been absolutely buzzing for the festival. It's 10.5 weeks to go and I cannot wait.
Oh yes, of course. This is the time when you start to get those. I mean, you had them last time, didn't you? But now you're really starting to feel festival-y.
I think it's because the sun's come out. Which is strange because there's never any real sun at Download, so I don't know why I get excited about Download when the sun comes out. Wow,
so you're genned in, you're researched on what past festivals have been like, so hopefully you'll be helpful today.
Hopefully.
This time around, I am, as we speak, getting ready to follow Royal Blood on their European tour. I'm going to 3 dates in the UK. The first one I'm going to is in Birmingham tomorrow. So I'm buzzing for that actually as well.
You're literally following them around Europe.
No, well, it's their European tour.
Or just a country.
It's their European tour. They're in Europe at the moment doing it all. But they're doing 3 dates in the UK, which I'm going to. I would love to go to Europe and follow them there, but that sounds like a lot more trouble and probably more expensive. So Birmingham, I'm going to Birmingham because it'll be a lot cheaper and a lot more easy for me to do. But that's great. So I'm really looking forward to it. So let's get on with the news. If you'd like to get in touch with us on the socials, by the way, you just look for Festpod, say hi, ask our advice about Download, or just chime in with whatever you want, whatever we say that you think, oh, I could say something about that. Just get in touch. So, festival news, we have quite a bit to talk about. Download Festival day tickets have had an announcement on their release date, haven't they?
They have. Tuesday the 29th of March at 10 a.m. If you are looking to go only for the day, the Friday, the Saturday or the Sunday, that's when you need to that's when you'll be able to get your tickets for.
Yeah.
This is a good sign. Not only does it mean, compared to the last 2 years, not only does it mean the festival's going ahead.
Yes.
This will be the starting point where more news about the festival itself will start rolling in, whether it be the in arena or in the village entertainment, stalls that are going to be there.
Oh, it's so exciting! Like we're getting to that stage now, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, 10.5 weeks to go, and the things are starting to roll in quite nicely.
Yes, yeah. So all these final last details that they have worked out, like day tickets going on sale on the 29th of March, and like you say, all they'll be booking comedy acts as well, won't they? And they'll be deciding what films to show and stuff like that.
Yeah, again, I tell you what, two massive parts of the festival for us, because I mean, once you've walked around the village like 100 times, which naturally you do, they do have, again, like you say, the comedy tent and the cinema there just for you to be able to bring you back down and relax before it all kicks off on the Friday.
Oh yes, can't wait. Now, the deal was something that we covered. Was it last time we covered the deal? And basically, if you missed that or if you've forgotten, what's the deal?
The deal with the deal is it was basically a battle for the bands, or battle of the bands, sorry. It was between 25 bands, and from week 1 to week 5 bands each week were put to a vote for the public to choose who they wanted to go through. Once that had finished, the top 10, so that was 2 bands from every week, were then put to a panel of experts from Kerrang, from Marshall Records, and I think someone from Download may have also been a part of that
Wow.
expert deciding panel. And the winners ended up being Animalia. I've never heard of it. Yay!
Well done.
I know. It's amazing because I did listen to this band, obviously, during when they were supposed to be voting, and I did give them a listen when the day that they were announced that they were but they had one.
What do you reckon?
This is a great band that's going to open up the Avalanche stage. They really are a really good band. I think I'd probably categorize them as sort of maybe like a pop punk, pop rock type band. It'd be an easy listening band on the first day on the Avalanche stage. Check them out. Check them out beforehand. If you're like me, you'll have probably checked out every artist so far anyway. So this is another one to check out before going. But they will be opening the Avalanche stage on the Friday at Download.
That is an incredible prize, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, it's massive. It's a record deal with Marshall, who again are world renowned. You know who Marshall are. It's not just speakers; they're a massive record label as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, you get to open up the Avalanche stage at probably the UK's biggest rock and metal festival. And there was a cash prize, which I can't remember what it was, but it couldn't have been anything small. They're going to get so much support from those at Kerrang and Kerrang Radio. They're going to get so much support and advice for obviously to be able to show off their brand and make themselves bigger and better artists.
It's going to look good on the CV, isn't it? That one.
The ribbon on the CV will be huge.
So the loyalty scheme deadline is April the 4th. So if you haven't applied for that, you want to get on that straight away. The emails did go out not too long ago, actually. And I mean, I've applied for mine.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's if you've been going, I think it was. So if you've been going continuously between 2012 and obviously 2022. So that's a good. I'll be at like 8 years worth of festivals. Obviously, we missed out last year in 2020. I mean, if you've gone continuously through that time, you could potentially get up to £50 worth of free, what they're calling download pounds, to spend on the bars, the Carlsberg bars, and the merchandise stands within the arena. I mean, I think my allocation will be up to about £50, and that's going to go. Yeah, that's going to probably go all on merch. So I'm saving myself £50. It's £50 of free money. So thank you, Download.
That's great, isn't it? So the merch that you can get, it doesn't include band merch, does it?
Unfortunately, not. No, it's all the Download branded merchandise, and it's good. Only. Oh, brilliant! I mean, that's that little memento to take away with you with all the bands on the back, or a hoodie or something like that. The bars, it's only the ones that got the official Download or Carlsberg bars that are there. You won't be able to spend it in the Danish Quarter if that comes back.
Is that not Carlsberg? The Danish.
It is.
Oh, but I can't spend it.
So when I say Carlsberg official, I think it what I'm trying to say is the bar 1 or the bar 2s that are dotted around the arena. I think there's about 6 of them, so you can only spend them there. So unfortunately, not at the Rocktail Cocktail if that's there, the Danish Quarter if that's there. So yeah, only like the bar 1, bar 2, bar 3 bars that you will see.
Well, it's money that we didn't have, isn't it? Basically, it's money for nothing, or money for loyalty. So it's nice to get something out of it. You know, if you've been going every year, and particularly if you've missed out on 2020 and 2021, and you're itching to get back, you can look at it as a sort of thank you for your patience. Here's £50 or whatever. Yeah,
it's almost like them saying thank you for your loyalty. And thank you for your patience. For we are back. So here, have some free cash.
I mean, yeah, £50 is. I mean, let's not fuck about. £50 is quite a lot of money, actually. You know.
Oh, big time. I mean, and you'll. I mean, it's excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, it's a lot of money. So end of the day, yeah, better than a poke in the eye.
Yeah. Arctangent have announced their final 16 bands. Now, there's some interesting ones here, aren't there?
Yes, indeed. So, the list of bands contains Lightning Bolt, Jamie Lenman, who is playing Download, Covert, Bosk, who are a really, really good doom metal band, which we probably wouldn't ever see at Download, but I've seen them at Bloodstock, and they are absolutely fantastic.
Are they a bit heavy for Download?
I Doom metal isn't. It's a hard one to describe. It's not heavy as such. Oh, do you know, it's really difficult to describe doom metal.
Doom metal. Okay, well, perhaps we can Google it or look on YouTube and find out what doom metal is for ourselves. But it's not what you'd normally find a download.
No, which is strange because the download does cover a lot of metal and rock genres.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. Who else have we got? We have got Palm Reader. Thank you, Scientist. I'm gonna say that one's Dune.
DVNE.
So with a V instead of a U or an O, so that's Dune. Blanket, Zetra, Tuskar, El Muno, Harriet, who are playing Download. They are opening up the Dogtooth stage on the Friday, who I'm definitely going to see. I gave them a listen again in the week, and they are heavy as shit, and they're awesome.
It's a mark of quality playing the Dogtooth stage, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, no, I agree. Again, because the Dogtooth stage has so many bands that play. They're shorter sets, but so many bands of different variety of genre. It's just a wicked stage. We also have Ithaca, Skin Failure, Rubbing, and Graveway, which makes up the final lineup for Arctangent in August.
Wow. I think that Arctangent is really up your alley.
Big time.
Yeah.
It's like 2000 Trees and Techfest. Arctangent are one of the festivals that are on my to-do list at some point in my life because they do have a lot of what people would class as smaller bands, but there's a lot of new bands to try out, and they're definitely worth a go. Arctangent's definitely up my alley.
Because you do a lot of research, don't you? So even festivals like this that you're not going to go to this year, you'll still listen to their lineup of bands that are going to play there.
For sure. I like to find new music all the time, and if I've not heard of something, I think, that sounds all good. I could like that. I could get into that. Then I will. And again, like the type of festivals that Arctangent, 2000 Trees, and Techfest are, there is a chance one day you will see them at Download. Again, as I've said, Her Riot, they're opening up the Dogtooth stage, so they're going to be there. Jamie Lenman has played Download several times, and again, he's going to be at Arctangent. So these festivals are where you're going to see maybe the quote unquote smaller acts, but I mean they are still amazing acts.
Just looking at the lineup that you've just read out of 16 bands, my favourite name out of the lot of them is probably Thank You, Scientist.
I like the name El Muno.
El Muno. That's without hearing what they sound like at all. I just like the name, you see. Thank You, Scientist. It's quite, I've got to think about names for metal bands. I think they're really inventive. Reading and Leeds have announced more bands, including the incredible Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes.
I'm a little bit annoyed because obviously we wanted them to come back to Download. I was seeing them in the pilot, and what's worse is that they're playing the German Download.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, that really kind of made my teeth itch. I was like, oh, you bastards, because they've already got Metallica.
They've got Metallica at Germany.
Yeah, and Behemoth. The German festival, they've only announced 6 or 7 bands, but the German Download is looking really good so far.
So is German Download completely separate to British Download?
Well, I believe it's the same as the Japanese version and the Spanish version and the Australian version. They're sharing the Download name, but the acts will all be different. That's the way it seems to have gone the last few years, is that whilst they may be roughly the same time, apart from the Australian one, of course, roughly the same time of year, we won't be sharing acts, which is a massive shame because, like I said, the German festival have already announced Metallica, Behemoth, and Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes, which is up yours and my alley. But then you've got other bands like Five Finger Death Punch. I think Sabaton are playing there as well. The lineups differ. The name and brand is exactly the same. Their own version, I think the European version of Live Nation will probably organise that a little bit more than our Live Nation. But yeah, the name is the same, but everything else is slightly different.
It's weird because you look at Reading and Leeds, they share a lineup, but they're in different places. It's effectively a different festival, but they share a lineup.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all one. I think it's Live Nations.
Yeah.
That I think because obviously you've got Glastonbury, which is absolutely massive.
Oops. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. You've got Glastonbury, which is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Which is totally separate from any sort of organisation like Live Nation. So, I mean, the pinnacle of a British festival would be to play at Glastonbury. And with this massive variety of bands. Whereas I think with Live Nation, I think Reading Leeds is their baby, it's their big one. And over the years, the variety in genres of Reading Leeds has just grown massively. It used to be, I think it was first, when it first came on the scene, it was a jazz festival.
Was it? Didn't know that.
And then I think it came into like the 90s and early 2000s, it became more of a rock festival. And then obviously, and now in 2020 decade, I suppose you call it.
The 20s.
The 20s.
Yes.
The genres are just so vast. It's amazing. The lineup, to be honest, is looking really good. I'm Bring Me the Horizon, Enter Shikari, Rage Against the Machine. The other bands that were announced as well was All Time Low, Tiger Club, The Scratch, Witch Fever.
Tiger Club are great. I've seen them on. I've seen that actually. I think I saw them at the Download Pilot.
You did. After I watched your video again the other day, and they were one of your highlights.
And I saw them supporting Royal Blood as well. And
brilliant!
Yeah, I think they're really good. So if you get a chance to see Tiger Club at Reading and Leeds, if you're going, then do. Who else have we got there?
You've also got All Time Low, massive pop punk band. Again, they're a few decades old. I'd say about 15, 20 years old as a band. They're massive in the pop punk world, so that's a really good booking. The Scratch are playing Download. They are an Irish folk band.
Oh dear, no, no.
They're hilarious. I've listened to their tracks. They're actually hilarious. They're on my potentially to see list. Not being funny. When I say Irish folk, it might not be what you're thinking straight away. But that's how they are described. If you look on Download's website, they're described as like Irish folk metal. Which I don't hear much metal in it at all.
Folk metal? What the hell is that?
I played it for the wife, and she said it sounds very Mumford and Sons.
Oh,
but with a bit of a very Irish twang to obviously the lyrics, and they're fun. Not gonna lie, I listen to them, and I think they could be a fun gig. Check them out before you turn your nose up. Just in case.
Yeah, all right, fair point. I mean, you mentioned Mumford and Sons there, which if I hear them on the radio, I'll usually switch over. But they're not The Scratch, are they? So I shall give them a chance before, like you say, turning my nose up. Also, Witch Fever as well, who actually I don't think I've heard of.
No, I've not. The reason that I thought I'd give this name a shout is, again, I've not listened to them. However, they're one of those names that crops up within, say, the metal and the alternative community as if they are a popular band. So I thought I'd just slip them into our little announcement as well.
Just slip them in.
There's the laughter track. Brilliant. I thought I'd just slip them in because some people that may be listening may think, oh, Witch Fever. So, yeah.
All right. And Reading have sold out weekend and day tickets. So if you were thinking of going to Reading, you can't. Unless you've already bought a ticket.
And I think unless you buy in like the VIP packages, I think they might be still available. However, weekend and day tickets gone. That's massive. I think Reading and Leeds do sell out almost every year. But this is only on the second announcement with very little on the lineup. So that's still a massive thing. I mean, I can't remember the last time Download ever sold out.
Oh, my God. No, that's a very good point, actually. I don't think... I can't remember a time when they did. I mean, it must be...
I think if Facebook is to be believed, the last time Download Festival sold out was 2012.
Wow. Well, God, if they can't sell out within 10 years of doing it, then I don't know what.
I think they are due a sellout, but they need to put bands on like Metallica, Bring Me the Horizon, AC/DC, those sorts of bands. And to be fair, if that's the headliners next year, just like to throw that out there now, that's amazing. But they need those sorts of headliners to be able to sell out. They can't keep throwing at us. And no offense to anyone that likes these bands, they can't keep throwing at us the likes of System of a Down, Biffy Clyro, because to me they're not sellers or sell-outers, I suppose you could say. They're good bands, love their music, but they're not quite at that level where you're going to get 100,000 or 110,000 people at Donington Park.
Yeah, and I was in the crowd to watch Biffy Clyro when they were last on. Was that 2018 maybe?
17, I believe.
And it was purely out of curiosity. I've heard them on the radio. I wasn't massively impressed by them, to be honest. And if you look at the crowd that was there for when they last performed, it wasn't massive. I think that Rob Zombie was on at the same time, and a lot of people were there watching Rob Zombie. In fact, I think he was on the second stage, and there was a huge number there. But whereas if you look at the crowd for Biffy Clyro, it was not a huge crowd.
See, there's a massive debate surrounding that, whether or not there was a lot of people there or not. I think those that were fans have got the rose-tinted glasses on and saying there was loads of people there. It was amazing. But then you've got people that will turn their nose up because they're a radio rock band, let's call them. And people just turn their noses up just because, again, they are popular to a certain crowd. But,
you book Biffy Clyro as a radio rock band, and you think, well, that people know them, they're going to sell tickets, but I do turn my nose up, and I don't think I'm going to be sat there watching them on the Sunday.
No, I mean, hopefully they will. I've got the lineup right here. Hopefully they will have. So you've got Steel Panther potentially going up against them, as well as Miles Kennedy on the fourth stage. However, no. Once Korn have played and Yonaka, I may call it a night. But then again, at the same time, I mean, I might as well hang around for Biffy. I didn't get to see them in 2017, so.
Do you know them?
Are
you familiar with their work?
I've been trying to listen to them. They're on my playlist, so I do listen to them. I don't just skip them every time they pop on. I do try and give them a listen. So I might try and give them a go. So again, some of their softer stuff isn't quite up there, but they do have some decent tracks that are quite heavy or heavier, at least. So I mean.
Yeah, well, horses for courses, they're not for everybody, but that's the same with any headliner or any other band. I do think they need to up their game when it comes to headliners, because we've got Kiss, Iron Maiden, and Biffy Clyro, who they're not going to sell the place out.
Well, I mean, Kiss are an old band from the 70s and 80s, which, again, they were huge back then in sort of the rock and alt community. So, I mean, I understand the booking, but, again, they've played a few times. So, I mean, some people are probably not going to be so enthusiastic to see them. Iron Maiden as well. This will be the fifth time they've played, fifth or sixth time they've played since Download was incepted. So, I mean, again, yes, they're huge. Everyone knows them. Everyone knows the particular songs to sing along to. They will draw a good crowd, but at the same time, they've played so many times. Some people are thinking, "Oh, not again."
Yeah,
and I get that, but at the same time, I mean, you've got other bands hopefully playing at the same time, so wouldn't worry too much about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of people like Kiss, Iron Maiden, and Biffy. A lot of people. But are they going to sell out Download? No, they're not.
No.
I mean,
again, you could argue Metallica could, because when Metallica played the Etihad and Twickenham back in 2018, I believe, I think they did very well to sell a lot of tickets, more than Download's capacity. because I think Twickenham itself is an 85,000 seater stadium, and the Etihad Stadium is roughly the same. So, I mean, I think Metallica could sell us out or sell Download out.
Well, I mean, the last time I checked out prices for their tour, we're talking hundreds of pounds just to see Metallica. And there weren't particularly great seats either. So, I think people would jump at the chance to see a band like that, because you're never ever going to get the chance to see them otherwise, unless you're rich.
Well, this is the thing. Again, as we all know as well, everything is getting more and more expensive. So, I mean, festivals like this, they're going to have to put their prices up as well. Everything's going to cost more money.
Well, they have already put the prices up, haven't they?
Exactly, and there's only going to I think, especially the next couple of years with the government that we have, I only think things are just going to get worse. So I mean,
so we're looking for value from our festivals, aren't we?
Exactly. Now you pinned that perfectly. We're looking for value for festivals now as well, not just the names on the lineup as well. There's got to be other things there that can entertain us. Again, Download has the comedy tent, the cinema. I think Bloodstock had a gaming tent last year, like PS5s, PCs, Xboxes, that sort of thing, to draw people in, not only for the music, for the other entertainment as well.
Yeah, there was an email that was sent out from Download not too long ago, in fact, within the last couple of days. It was a survey asking for what you wanted, basically. What do you want from Download? Who are you and what do you want? And there was a sort of list of bands that you might be interested in, and you had to sort of whittle it down to 10 that would get you to buy a ticket. They were asking all sorts of questions, weren't they?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Turnstile was one of the bands on there that I'd noticed, and they're already playing 2,000 Trees. So, I mean, I think someone put on the forum as well, they need to add Turnstile and Idols to the lineup Download. I was like, well, and I messaged this person back to no reply. You sound like you need a 2,000 Trees ticket because they're playing 2,000 Trees.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, there was them on that list. I think there was Metallica, Muse, Limp Bizkit, Gojira. So I mean, to me, those list of bands looks like the potentials to either headline the main stage or headline the second stage, or guest appearance or sub the main stage.
I thought that when I saw it as well. I thought this is the list of people they're considering.
Yeah, I mean, they do this every year to ask, who do you want?
Do they?
Yeah, it does happen every year. It's obviously you don't remember because it's been so long since we had a proper Download festival. But true. They do. They send these surveys out with the intention of, obviously, you could be in the prize draw to win weekend tickets for the festival next year. And they ask the question all the time, and some people are a bit skeptical about it, but you never know. They actually might listen to us fans when we choose who we choose.
Yeah, and fingers crossed we've always got our fingers crossed every time we're anticipating a lineup announcement, haven't we? We're always waiting for the best possible outcome. And there's a lot of talk about it. And it's always discussed, why haven't we got a better lineup? People are always talking about it. So, I mean, the best we can do is fill in the surveys, tell them what we want, and hope for the best, isn't it, really? Radar Fest is now a 3-day festival. Well, it was just a 1 day before, wasn't it?
It was a 2-day festival.
2-day.
In Surrey, and yeah, they've recently announced they're now doing a 3-day festival. There's no camping involved, which is a shame.
Well, that's weird.
But, yeah, I mean, there are some festivals that are no camping. I think Damnation is a 2-day no camping festival. That used to be at the Leeds Student Union. That's now moved over to Manchester. But it does happen. But I mean, to be able to go from 2 days to 3 days means that they were extremely popular. I think in 2019. So that's good news for them. The bands they announced along with the 3-day festival announcement: Hacken, Foxjaw, Hacktivist, Conjurer, The City Is Ours.
Some good bands.
The lineup is spectacular. So again, if you are local to, I think it's Guildford in Surrey, or you're looking for a new 3-day festival to go to, definitely check that one out.
Oh, absolutely. And as we've talked about before, there are festivals around the country, metal festivals that are happening that are potentially nearer where you are. So if download is a bit too far, perhaps, or if it happens to be on your doorstep, then why not try out a different festival? I think I've got the Punk Festival, the Manchester Punk Festival happening near me, so I may well show my face there because it's there, and why not?
What's on your doorstep? Yeah, exactly. Why not?
The Heavy Metal Music Awards have announced their nominees across 11 categories. Oh, now I always like awards. Heavy Metal Music Awards. So who have we got in those 11 categories that's worth mentioning then?
So we've got, I'll just list a few of them because there was quite a lot. So across categories like best album, best artwork, best production, those sorts of categories. You've got Gojira, Enter Shikari, Architects, Sleep Token, Bring Me the Horizon, I believe as well, Trivium, and I think Wargasm as well were up for an award. So it's the award ceremony. It takes place, I think, the week before download.
Does it? Can we watch this like the Brit Awards?
I believe there is a stream for it. Do you know what? I might get this wrong. However, there was a stream of an awards ceremony last year where the female lead singer of Wargasm was wearing a chainmail top and you could see her boobs.
Okay.
When she went on stage, they cut the stream.
Did they?
Well, women's nipples are offensive, Neil. I mean, it's just weird.
Have they ever seen heavy music before?
I know. Do you know? Whoever was in charge of that stream, slap on your wrist because you allowed the lead singer of who's the other band? Bugger. There was another band that came on after, and the lead singer being male had a fishnet top on and his nipples were shown and the stream continued.
It's a disgrace. We need to see the nipples.
They're just fucking nipples, man. There's nothing wrong with nipples.
Lee wants to see your nipples.
Hashtag free the nipple, yeah.
So send in pictures. So just to Lee, though. I'm not bothered. If I'm looking at this correctly, heavymusicawards.com, the headline sponsor is Amazon Music. And they've got a huge platform. So if they don't stream it on Amazon Prime, then they're missing a trick. I would love to watch the Heavy Music Awards 2022 on Amazon Prime. I would stream it.
I would. Yeah. I think that'd be. Apparently, it's always a really good show, and to be able to actually watch it would be awesome. Worth mentioning as well, if you vote for the Heavy Metal Music Awards, you get the chance to win tickets to go.
Oh,
so definitely go Google Heavy Metal Music Awards. Go and vote.
Well, it says heavymusicawards.com here. Unless I'm looking at the wrong one. Heavy Music
I make
Awards.
mistakes.
I know, everyone makes mistakes.
It could be a mistake. I'm pretty sure it's Heavy Metal Music Awards. Do you know what? While we're here, Neil, while I'm on the computer.
Well, who knew there were all these different award ceremonies for heavy metal? Who knew? I've got Heavy Music Awards 2022 headline sponsor Amazon Music in front of me.
I tell you what, I was wrong.
Okay.
Look, at least I'm man enough to admit I'm wrong. Do you know what I mean? But
Lee was
wrong. It's the Heavy Music Awards, not Heavy Metal Music Awards.
No, that's a different thing.
If you do what I've just done and Google Heavy Music Awards, you will be able to go online and vote in the 11 categories for whichever band you want to win the awards, and you get the chance to win tickets to go to the show as well.
Just to give a flavour of who's nominated for Best Album: Architects, Beartooth, Bullet for My Valentine, Don Brocco, Holding Absence, Spirit Box, and Turnstile is all up for best album there. So that's...
I struggled with that one.
What?
Between Architects and Spirit Box.
Can you only vote for one?
Yeah.
Oh.
I really struggled because that Architects album is amazing. But the Spirit Box album was, again, just as amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really struggled with my vote.
Yeah, you know what? I would love to go through all of this and, look at the best UK artist. Architect, Spring with the Horizon, Don Brocco, Enter Shikari.
Obviously, that's who I voted for.
I see that. That's why I stopped. Nova Twins, Sleep Token, and While She Sleeps. Oh, man, I would love to watch this. I tell you what, if they screened this on ITV instead of the Brit Awards, I would be all over this.
No, I totally agree. Actually, I'm just looking at a tweet they sent on the 9th of March. After 6 hours of voting, they already had 110,000 votes.
Wow.
I mean, that's not fair. I mean, that's I have like a 1 in 110,000 chance of going. That's just not fair.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Best International Breakthrough Artist, Best UK Breakthrough Artist. There's a lot of download names here. Best Single, Best Production, Best Video, Best Podcast. Oh, hey! We should be on there.
We should
no. Anyway, if you were hoping to vote for Best Podcast and vote for Festpod, you can't. But I don't know what can I say to that. We are not. I guess we're not a heavy metal necessarily podcast. We are a festival podcast. We are,
but we focus on the heavier genres of music for the festivals that we talk about.
I'm trying to make
one.
myself feel better about how we're not we're not nominated. Oh God! Yeah. Anyway, so
I mean that's down to our listeners. Come on, guys! Just spread the word about Festpod. Tell your friends, tell your mothers, tell your fathers, tell everyone that we are here.
Yeah. Would it help if there was some merch that you could wear or something like that said Festpod on it, like a T-shirt or a patch or something like that you could, wear on your T-shirt there and say, "Oh,
do you know what, Neil?
What?
I think my mornings would be so much better if I had a Festpod mug with coffee in it.
Really?
I'm currently wearing a cap. There's the potentials for us to make caps. I'm actually currently wearing the Festpod T-shirt.
Are you really? Yes,
I am.
There is a Festpod T-shirt that's not available at the moment because we need to get our act together with merchandising opportunities.
I think so.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all because if people see that, other people will go, "Oh, what's Festpod?" And then you'll be able to say, "Oh, well, it's this really good podcast that talks about Download Festival and other smaller metal festivals." And they'll go, "Oh, really?" And you'll say, "Yes." And they'll go, "Oh, where can I find that?" And you can say to them, festpod.co.uk, etc. So anyway, so that's derailed us a little bit. But anyway, that's... I'm just so disappointed that we're not on this heavy music awards thing. So, yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. We'll get there eventually, okay? We will get there.
Right. So heavymusicawards.com if you'd like to cast your vote. And Castlefest at... Oh, hang on. Yes, no, this is the right bit. Castlefest at Castle Cavern in Luton, which I don't think I've heard of before, actually.
No, it's a small festival. It's not new. They've done a few festivals over the last couple of years. Obviously, not 2020 and 2021, but they have done a few festivals the last few years. They've announced their first set of bands, who include Death Blooms and my homies from High Wycombe.
Yes,
As Everything Unfolds, which are two brilliant acts who are both playing Download, and that's a fantastic booking to whomever has booked that. Best thing about this festival as well, the tickets are on general sale today as we speak, the 25th of March. They're £30 for a weekend ticket.
Wow. That's really good.
£30. for a 2-day festival with bands that you will see at Download. I mean, that's awesome. And why not pre-order yourself a T-shirt for only a tenner?
A £10 T-shirt. That's a cheap bit of merch. That's good.
I'm not being funny. That's cheaper than half of a day. Well, what I'm guessing will be half of a day ticket at Download. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's really good. And I did notice that you took the opportunity to talk about As Everything Unfolds, who you love, don't you?
Well, like I've said the last couple of podcasts, they are from my hometown, so I feel obliged to speak positively and speak nicely. I love this music, by the way. I like I'm in a fairy tale.
So have you met them? As Everything Unfolds?
I haven't. No. There is only out of the smaller bands that I have seen, there is only one person from a particular band that I'm not going to mention because you took the piss before we went on air. So.
Oh, who's that?
It's just this band that I like.
Is it In Visions?
Oh, those guys? Yeah. I met their drummer at the pilot, didn't I?
Oh, so you need to meet these guys. You've met In Visions and one of them.
I'm very tempted to wear my football shirt. Obviously, being a Wycombe Wanderers fan, I'm tempted to wear my football shirt when I go and see them, and I'm going to try and wiggle myself to the front. And hopefully they'll see it. So, he's from Wycombe
Try and get
too.
their attention by wiggling yourself to the front.
Yep, as long as I'm only wiggling my whole body and not wiggling something else, I won't get done for indecent exposure.
That hadn't occurred to me, actually, but fine. Yes, I agree with you.
Yep.
Oh, dear. So that is Castlefest at Castle Cavern in Luton. Where's Luton, by the way?
Bedfordshire. It's not too far from me, actually. Just off the M1, I believe.
Just
down
the...
off, just down this end of the country. Just off the M1.
Okay. All right. Well, that sort of rounds up the news. There's been quite a bit of news this time around. But next, we are going to get some advice about going to Download in the guide. In this section, we're going to try and answer your questions about what it's like to go to Download Festival, things we recommend, and things to avoid. This time, security. So for a lot of us, Download is our annual holiday. Some people go to Spain or Greece. We go to Donington. So when you're away for a camping trip, the last thing you want to deal with is losing anything valuable. So we've got some hints and tips to keep you and your valuables safe. It is worth saying that Download doesn't have a high crime rate and it isn't known for terrible things happening. But these are sensible reminders on how not to have your trip ruined for the sake of a few simple things that you could do. So what have we got?
First and foremost, I believe getting a locker is essential. With the lockers at Download, not only will you keep your purse, your wallet, or your keys safe, you'll be able to charge your gadgets as well.
Yeah.
Phone, your cameras, whatever.
Got a little USB socket in there, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it's just that peace of mind. You could put all your personal stuff in there, and it's safe. It's away for the weekend.
Yeah.
Just don't do what I did in 2018 and lock your keys in your locker.
See, I still don't even know how you did that.
As I explained on the video, which you still haven't put out, by the way, and that's your monthly reminder. Right. I put them in the corner of the locker as a sort of, right, they're out of my hands and I can chuck all my stuff in the locker. And I did just forget about them briefly, shut the locker, and then clip the lock shut.
Yes.
And as I walked away, I thought, fuck, where are my keys? Oh, shit.
They're locked in the locker.
They're locked in the locker. Luckily, if you do this, because I can't be the only person ever that's ever done it, just give them a tap on the window and just say, I've locked my keys in my locker. Is there anyone that can help? And they will come with a massive set of bolt cutters to get your keys out. You will then need to get another locker, by the way, but at least you get the keys out.
Did they charge you again for it?
I don't think so. I can't remember 100%, but I don't think they did.
Okay. That's very interesting, but worth knowing. But to avoid all that, don't put your keys in the locker. Don't put the locker key in the locker. Keep your actual keys in the locker, like your car keys and your front door keys and all of that.
Yes, car keys are important. Do not lose your car keys. I lost my car keys at Download Pilot and lost my shit.
Oh yeah, quite in a big way.
That was not a fun experience.
No, you were on your way home, weren't you? Basically.
Yeah, no, that had done me for the weekend. I was going to Miss Enda Shikari because obviously the stress that happened out on the Friday, trying to find a spot, and then that I just thought I'm going to lose my mind. I have to go home. But luckily,
the 2021 Pilot was cursed for you particularly, wasn't it?
Yes, I mean that's the perfect way to describe it. Yeah, I mean I always have a good time at Download. 2019 I went home early because my feet were killing me. That's beside the point. But yeah, it seemed as if the curse had gone from one person and landed on me. That's irritating. I hope that doesn't happen in 2020. This doesn't happen this year.
No, I agree with you. So what I would say to you is don't bring anything that you don't mind losing, because it really will upset you. Basically, if you lose something that's, I mean, it's hard nowadays with, £1,000 smartphones and things like that. But, if you can bring a backup phone instead of your normal phone, then do it, because it's going to be so much easier on you to lose a phone that's worth 30 quid than it is to lose a phone that's worth £1,000. And bringing other cameras and stuff. Bring a cheap camera. I mean, it sounds like a real no fun type of weekend if you follow my advice. But can you trust yourself? That's the question, really. Can you trust yourself to look after your own stuff? Can you trust your mates with it all? Can you trust...
You will be happier knowing that your belongings are either safe at home still, or again, as we mentioned, the locker, safe in the locker. It is the worst. Take it from someone who experienced this last year. Losing something so valuable, it will destroy the weekend.
Yeah.
There are other videos online as well, obviously, that did their own vlogs and stuff with people on there saying they'd lost their phones, lost things that, again, said I'd lost my keys. And they said the weekend was ruined.
Yeah.
Which, again, you don't want to go through that. And I can say from experience, it's horrible.
Because it takes you away from the music and your mates, and you're just at your tent, turning it upside down. You're at your locker, turning it upside down. You're scouring all the places that you've walked by, all the vendors that you've been to, and you're just completely gone from Download by that point. And you are, it's ruined by that point, isn't it? Even if you do find your keys. So it's worth considering alternatives. Because there are alternatives, actually. You can get a cheap phone with a half-decent camera on it. You don't have to spend $1,000 just because that's what they're asking for it. You can get decent stuff that actually doesn't cost you that much as an alternative. And what I would see, I've just immediately had a thought here, which I don't know whether I can share. But use cards instead of bringing large sums of cash.
Well, I know exactly what you're talking about. We won't go into it.
No.
But yeah, I mean, taking large sums of cash, even if you don't scream at the top of your lungs that you've got that cash, you're still a target.
Top of your lungs.
That wasn't meant to make you laugh, by the way.
No, but it's there's a situation. Oh God, we're gonna have to tell people that there was somebody that we know who went to Download and brought large sums of cash, and he didn't go home with the cash, and the vendors didn't have the cash from him. It sort of disappeared while he was asleep, shall we say?
Yeah. So, I mean, with that as an example, even if you don't, like I said, even if you don't scream from the rooftops, you've got this cash, you're still a target. I mean, if you go to the vendor, you whip your wallet out, and let's say, even if you've got £100 in your wallet and you've got all those purple notes or the reddies, Just flash out. Someone will follow you. Someone will collar onto you and say, right, I'm gonna find out where his tent is. I know. Obviously, I'm gonna rob him. And I mean, it's again. I think that may be the worst thing as well. Imagine saving up all that cash and then having it just disappear, whether it be stolen, whether it's dropped, if you whatever.
That's the thing. It's physical and it can be lost. Things can happen to it.
Yeah.
It can be fall in mud even, and you know.
Yeah. Whereas, if you take your card, if you lose your card, and you provide you've still got your phone on you, you can call up to get that cancelled, so nobody else can use it.
Yeah.
What you would then do for cash, I suppose, a lot of us now have contactless on our phones, so we can use that.
Yeah.
I imagine if you're going with a group of good mates, they could probably help you out for the weekend, obviously provided they pay you back. Yeah, I mean, imagine saving up, working your arse off to save up a lot of cash to then it just disappearing. I'm going to keep using the phrase disappearing because, again, it could be lost, it could be stolen, it just disappears.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily expect to be robbed at download. You know, it's not a case of somebody coming up to you with a weapon or something like that and saying, give me your money, necessarily. I mean, I'm not saying that couldn't happen, but I'm saying that that's extremely unlikely.
We'd like to hope that it is unlikely.
Because you are searched on the way in, you know.
Exactly.
Whilst, you know, they're not going to find necessarily everything that you bring in. You know, for example, there's a good chance that they will find it and they'll ask you not to bring it in or take it off you. So in terms of, you know, I'm not expecting to see weapons or anything like that. So I wouldn't say, you know, you're going to get robbed, but I would say, you know, if you've got valuables like cash, large sums of cash, if you know, keep it well out of the way and use the locker, and don't tell anybody about it. Certainly don't boast about it, because A, you're going to alienate people by telling people how, you know, what great stuff you're bringing with you, and B, you're putting yourself at risk, you're putting your stuff at risk. You know, it's physical, it's an item that can be taken off you. So don't tell anybody if you're going to bring it, or even better, don't bring it at all. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it, really? Don't leave anything unattended if you don't mind it disappearing. You know, the temptation is to set your tent up, put your stuff in there and think, right, well, that's all my stuff. Safe. You know, zip that zip, and that's everything safe. No, it is just canvas. And I've had it happen to me on a couple of years where I know that my tent has been opened whilst I haven't been there, and somebody's gone through my stuff.
I'm pretty certain it happened to me as well one year. I mean, I do make mistakes, but obviously as this podcast is a prime example, and I can be slightly forgetful. But I'm pretty certain in this example, I left my tent shut, and when we came back, I'm pretty certain it was open.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, you just got to have your wits about you, I suppose. Such just leaving anything unattended, just be careful. I mean, even when you've set your tent up and you put your chairs outside to obviously sit under your gazebo and chill out, put your chairs back in your tent, because someone might like your chair. And
yeah, and it's a matter of opportunistic thievery. You know, if somebody's walking past a chair and they want a chair and they see yours and you're not there, they'll just, you know, they could just take it. I'm not saying they will, but because not everybody's bad. But you know, if they're drunk or whatever, if they're on some substance that they shouldn't be on, then it's a matter of it being there and available, isn't it? So if someone's, I mean, I really feel like I'm saying obvious things here. You know, I really feel like I'm telling people to lock their front door before they go out. After they go out, not before, obviously. But I think it's worth bringing up. I do think it's worth bringing up because whilst you're at a festival, you're there to have fun. You're not there to think about all the serious things about looking after things, putting things away. you're not in a serious mood. You're in a fun mood, aren't you? So I do think it's worth highlighting a little bit of sensibleness when you go out. Because you're in a field full of drunk people, and things could happen to your expensive stuff. That's all we're trying to highlight, really. Use a bum bag when you're in the arena to keep your stuff on you. That's a good tip, because then it's always on you, and it's even if you fall over or you're upside down on one of the rides or something, then it's not going anywhere. Hopefully, and also you can get to know your neighbours as well when you're in the campsite, and you can try and look out for each other.
I think that's quite important. When we were at Bloodstock, we made friends with about four or five guys that must have been in their 50s or 60s, and then we got to know them and made friends with them. Luckily, nothing happened, but it was just knowing that you've gained the trust of your neighbours, that you trust them to be able to basically, just look out for you, and if something's gone awry. Or you could even have the other experience I had at Bloodstock, my first Bloodstock. I got very, very drunk.
Yeah.
And I shit you not. No. I shit you not. I saw a unicorn.
Right.
No, that's absolutely, hand on heart. I saw a unicorn, but that's not the point of the story.
Was this the same event when you walked stark bollock naked out of your tent to go to the toilet in the middle of the night and a load of people saw you?
I was getting to that. Yes. This is what bonded my girlfriend at the time, my wife now. This is what bonded us with our neighbours, was seeing me run bollock naked through the campsite towards the loos. And getting to know your neighbours it makes you feel a little bit more safer. Even if you flash them by mistake, it makes you feel a little bit more safer and a bit more trusting of the neighbours around you. So it's definitely worth, again, the odd good morning, the odd small talk conversation can just make you feel a bit more at ease with the people that are around you.
Oh, definitely. I mean, when we say get to know your neighbours, we're not encouraging you to flash your genitals at them in a sort of nighttime dash to the toilet.
I don't recommend it. It was rather embarrassing the next morning.
I bet it was. What did the unicorn think about it?
Wasn't very chatty, if I'm honest.
Okay, fine.
No, but it was definitely there though. These two blokes, neighbours. I was very trusting towards them, and they gave me a swig of this cider out of a jerry can.
Oh.
And the missus loves a cider, so she says she'll have a go, and all she imagined was they just literally tip a little bit in there so she could have a sip and have a little bit of a try of it. They filled up our drinking horns.
Oh, very generous.
And she drank hers. That's really, really strong. She managed to get about half down before she started feeling a little bit piddly. I, on the other hand, decided to neck mine and hers, and there was a unicorn in the campsite a few hours later.
Okay.
It's true. I'm not right. People don't believe me when I said this. I'm certain there was a unicorn.
All right. Well, I mean, I wasn't there, so I can't say whether there was or there wasn't. I've got your say so to go on, and I trust you. So aside from unicorns, also try and make yourself known to the security staff. They do wander around in the campsites, just doing rounds, looking for things, and they're very chatty, to be honest. I've done that job before, and they're technically called stewards. Some have badges, security badges, and some don't. Some are there as a sort of customer service aspect, and some are actually there as security. Very often in very similar uniforms, though, and from the same company. So it's always nice to chat to them and find out what's going on, and it's a nice relaxed atmosphere. So once you're in the campsite, you tend to be more chatty anyway. So it's nice to chat to the staff there because they will probably want to chat to you. There's also the dog squad who can help. Now, we don't talk about the dog squad very often. What's the dog squad?
The dog squad. So if you've ever volunteered to work at a festival, which will probably usually be through Hotbox events, Download has dubbed them their dog squad. They will be in their green high-vis jackets, basically there to answer all manners of questions regarding anything download related while you're there, whether it be directions, whether it be what's going on, where's the best campsite, where's the nearest campsite. They're there to help. They are like the security. They are trained weeks in advance, obviously, to be able to answer all those questions. They will be led by their zone managers. The zone managers are part of, I believe, Download's event team. So it's not as if these random bunch of volunteers are going to be literally just let loose to help in whatever way they think that's the way. They will be under the direction of Download affiliated members of staff.
So you've got a manager for each sort of campsite or so, haven't you, really? And you've got volunteers within and under those sort of managers. They're usually in a little hut. You find them in a hut sometimes, don't you? And, they're giving out advice and stuff.
You do. You will definitely be able to hear them as well as see them. There's always someone with a megaphone, either blasting out some decent tunes off of their phone or just trying to talk to somebody in the campsite who's shouting back at them. It's rather entertaining. Again, every person that I've come into contact with in the dog squad has always been lovely and very helpful. So don't feel too scared or anxious to ask them questions, because that's what they're there to do. They're there to help.
Oh, yeah. And as somebody who has worked at many festivals as the sort of steward stroke security type person, we are loving life just as much as you are, although we're not always as drunk as you aren't necessarily. It's nice as somebody who can walk around from place to place and chat to people and look after people, to be able to chat and enjoy the weather and the atmosphere and stuff. I mean, they have accepted a job working at Download, paid or not, because they want to be there. They want to be there, enjoying the atmosphere, enjoying speaking to people like you. And I loved it when I worked at Download, and I loved chatting to people. And the whole atmosphere was just fantastic. And to get paid to be there, it was amazing. They're really approachable people, basically. And lastly, most of us love a beer or two. Some people even love other naughty stuff. But with that in mind, do be aware of your surroundings and what you're actually drinking, and look after your mates. And, you can say be safe at Download Festival. I don't know how many people are actually going to listen to that because I've seen what goes on. But, depending on how much you value what you've brought with you and all that sort of stuff, just take care, basically, because no one wants to end up in that awful, it's the medical tent. Nobody wants to end up in the medical tent with a problem. I mean, not that they're very good in there. They're very helpful, but the aim of the game is not to end up in medical or needing the care, particularly, of any of these officials. Ideally, you just want to go in there, pitch up, enjoy yourself, and go home again.
Yeah, I mean, as long as your fun doesn't interrupt with somebody else's fun, because we've all got different levels of fun. It's making sure that you and your mates are having a decent, safe time.
Yeah. So it's hard to do a security guide without sounding like the fun police. We want you to have a good time. Of course we do, because we're going to have a good time. But I suppose we're sort of making up for, obviously people who haven't been to a festival before, or younger sort of people who are perhaps a bit more naive about what to expect at a festival. I mean, I know my first time at a festival was very different to my last time at a festival. I mean, you certainly gain an understanding of what's expected and what to do, what not to do, what to leave in your tent, what not to leave in your tent. I do think that...
Well, it turns out I've done the complete opposite. I started going with my wife, and then now she's not there to hold my hand. I lose my shit.
Yes.
So this guide's for me more than anybody else, really.
Yeah. I just didn't want to sort of sound like we're patronising you on don't leave your phone in your tent when you go to watch a band and stuff like that. It's just a sort of guide on how to enjoy yourself and not lose all your all your decent stuff that you want to take. Because of course you want to take your nice phone. You want to take all your nice stuff with you. People take music and speakers and stuff for the campsite and wallets full of cash and stuff like that. And if you want to do that, do it. But at the same time, you can't expect to hold on to it for 100% of the time if you're just going to leave it in your tent. I mean, it's a common sense sort of guide, isn't it? Really. It's a common sense sort of thing.
Yeah, like you say, with this isn't aiming to be patronising in any way, shape, or form. It is more of because we've either experienced it ourselves or we know people that have experienced really, they've not been secure in themselves and their belongings. That it's just worth making a guide about this so people know that we want to look out for you guys as well as look out for ourselves.
Yeah, and we've seen some shit happen.
Yes,
so we kind of want to look after you and make sure that shit doesn't happen to you. And we're sure that you can look after yourself without needing our help. But what kind of guide would we be if we didn't include a few words on security? Next up, we're going to hear what's coming out of your mouth on social media. In this section, we're going to hear your answers to our question online when we asked, how far would you travel to see your favourite band? Some people follow bands on tour, some people travel the country, and some people go to other continents. They travel the world to see their favourite bands. But how far is too far? This has come up because obviously I'm going to see Royal Blood in numerous destinations around the UK, and some people would not go to those lengths. Some people would not go to Birmingham, London, Manchester to see their favourite band on tour. Some people would just go to their nearest sort of city or town, their nearest pub maybe, to see their favourite band. But I love to travel. I love going to different cities, different venues that I've never been before. And, I just find it really exciting because I've got my favourite music and I'm combining travel with it as well. But some people are just the opposite of that, aren't they? So that's the question, really. How far is too far? Do you travel, Lee? Are you a traveller when it comes to bands?
Unfortunately not, no. I've always gone for the easier option in going into London. But both major towns that I've lived in have got a direct line into London, so it's always seemed like the easier option.
Yeah.
And even when I lived in Cornwall for a bit, I saw My Chemical Romance in Plymouth, which again, it's not far away from where I was living. So no, I'm not a massive traveller when it comes to bands, which is a shame.
Is Download the furthest?
Yes, it is. Download is the furthest I've travelled to go and see some bands. I mean, I did travel to Nottingham to do a open forum thing for Download, and I ended up meeting Andy Copping and a few of the other organisers of Download.
You name dropper.
I know. I mean, does that count? I suppose. I met a few lovely people actually that run the forums on the official Download forums as well. Met some of the nicer ones that comment on that forum.
Yeah, it's about bands though, really. I mean, if you let's say Korn were playing up in Newcastle, and they were doing 2 dates. One was in Edinburgh and one was in Newcastle. Would you bother your ass to get on the train?
To be completely honest, if they were only doing those 2 dates in the UK, that would mean that they're definitely doing a festival date in the UK.
And so you'd wait for something closer.
I would. I mean, am I a bad fan? Like, I mean, there's lots of reasons as to why someone wouldn't travel.
Oh yeah.
There's loads of reasons why someone would travel for it, and I take my hat off because I love the dedication. Unfortunately for me, if it's in London or it's near me, it's much more convenient and much easier and probably nicer on my wallet to go and do that.
Oh, absolutely. There's tons of considerations. Can you afford it? Have you got the time? You know, do you speak the language? All this other stuff that that some people you just can't do it. You know, obviously it's not for everybody. But we do have some people who've commented on our posts who can do it. Now there's quite a range here. The question was, how far is too far? Adam Lancaster says space. Yeah, okay.
I saw that. That fucking made me chuckle because I just thought, of course, there's always a silly one in the comment section. And yeah, that made me chuckle, to be fair. So yeah, fair play to you for your comment. And if you did go to space, why don't we know about it? Why have you only just told people what's going on?
That does say that space is too far, so that the rest of the planet is not. So he'll travel anywhere on the planet to see his favourite band, which is admirable. Admirable.
I've got a Coots Britannia. Went to Norway to see Ghost.
Oh, wow.
I love Norway.
You've been there, haven't you?
I've been to Tromsø, and it is it was amazing. So
you didn't see any bands there, though, did you?
No, we did go to a what we thought was a metal bar, which it was, and we had decided, I think it was on our first or second evening, we knew that the band knew a band that was playing, and we thought, right, let's go back to the room, have a nap, go back again at about 10 o'clock when the band comes on, and then we'll be raging for the band. No, we fell asleep and didn't wake up again until the next morning.
Oh,
but we were supposed to see. They were like almost like a mariachi metal band.
I can't really imagine that, but okay.
Well, imagine. Obviously, you know what I mean when I say mariachi. Like obviously, the Mexican music. Just whack some metal in there. Okay. It sounded really fun, and we were really keen to see it. But we kind of fell asleep and then didn't wake up again the next day. Obviously, maybe a bit jet lagged, but yeah. I mean, yeah, it was a beautiful city. And yeah, that's probably, if there were bands playing on a visit to that country, yeah, I'd probably go see them.
Graham Thompson says, I've been to Germany and Paris to see Ozzy, Amsterdam and Antwerp to see BLS. Mind you, local gig is Glasgow, and that's a 5-hour round trip. So that's the traveler.
Local.
Well, yeah, a local gig is Glasgow, and that's a 5-hour round trip.
Damn, wow. Like, obviously Glasgow's quite big. 5-hour round trip to the local gig.
Yeah, well, maybe he lives in the Highlands, or you know. Or...
I'd love to live in the Highlands. So remote, away from everyone and everything.
Would you not get bored by that?
No, I've got my wife and my dog. I'll be fine.
Okay.
Right, who else we got here? Adam Reynolds. He's travelled from the UK to Broadway in New York to see Bruce Springsteen.
Oh,
that's a good little. That's definitely something to tell the grandkids.
It's a nice trip.
I know. Obviously, New York and going to Broadway in New York as well, especially to go and see Bruce Springsteen. No, I'd tip my hat to that. So that's a good one.
Benny Brown says he's travelled to the US, Sweden, Denmark, France, the Netherlands, Belgium, and many other places for bands. It's so much fun, he says. I suppose you've got to have that travelling mindset, haven't you? If you, I would love to travel, but I can't afford to. I'd love to go to different countries and see bands. In fact, when I used to work at the Arena in Manchester, I was always astonished at how far people would travel to come and see a band that I thought were a bit crap or whatever. But you know, people would come for miles. Like there's obviously no limit for some people.
Hey, that's fair enough. Like you said, money definitely plays a massive part in whether you can or cannot do these things. And yeah, if you if you can include a band to see on your travels, then that's awesome. I think the only thing that I can consider the same sort of thing that I did, I went to Helsinki a few years ago, and on Boxing Day of our trip is usually a football day for me. So I was a bit like, oh, I want to go to the football. And we bought tickets to go see the ice hockey. And this wasn't just a little rinky-dink local club ice hockey. This was in Helsinki. It was a big club ice hockey game, and it was fantastic. It was a really, really good experience. So yeah, I mean, if you can include something like that in a sort of fashion of a gig on a holiday, that's awesome.
Oh, definitely. You'll remember that for the rest of your life, won't you?
Yeah.
Michelle Chance is coming to download, actually, from Independence MO in America. Where's MO?
Oh, Christ. Now you got to make me think of my states. MO. Missouri?
Oh, it could be Missouri, couldn't it? Yes. Independence, Missouri. Is that a state? I see my American... I know we've got Americans listening. I apologise for my terrible geography knowledge of America, North America in particular. I'm not very good. But anyway, she's coming from Independence, which sounds like a very small place because I've never heard of it before. And it's her first time at Download, and she's going to be booking a hotel because she doesn't want to leave luggage in her tent, which I think actually is a very wise idea.
And obviously with the guide that we've given, it's not a bad way to go.
She's hoping to be a redneck novelty and invited into people's tents. Wow. Well, it sounds like she's planning quite a week.
Yes, that sounds like that actually been a long journey to come to Download. I mean, I'd love to know. I mean, it doesn't say in her comments who she's looking forward to seeing the most. But it would be nice, obviously, if we can spot this person and have a chat and just find out exactly what drew her to Download, especially from that side of the Atlantic.
It's a long way, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of commitment.
Oh yeah, big time. David Ingham, he says the son and I are travelling from Geelong, Australia, to Download. So is that a further journey, isn't it? That's 13 hours.
Yeah, that's a longer journey. That is.
Christ.
Wow. And Geelong sounds like I mean, I've never heard of Geelong either. That sounds like a remote sort of place.
Yeah. They say that his first was 2014, and then again in 2019. He's coming back again for 2022.
So he's a Download regular.
Wow. By the sounds of it, yeah. That's amazing, though. To come from Australia like 3 times for Download. Obviously, a Download Festival does mean a lot to a lot of people, and obviously from Australia, who have their own Download Festival in Melbourne and Sydney. In Melbourne and Sydney, to come to the UK for one, that's amazing.
Yeah, and he's taking his son with him. Imagine going on a holiday with your dad to Download Festival on the other side of the world. I mean, wow. That's a great dad, isn't it?
Oh, I know. That's like perfect dad.
Yeah, and you've got to appreciate as well, coming from Australia, that it takes a while to adjust to the time differences, because whilst it's breakfast time here, it's night time there.
Mm-hmm.
And
so I mean, it's 8:30 this evening. It was going to be what is the time difference? Is it
it'll be morning there, won't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So is it 8:30 in the morning, or is it like, I don't know? Christ. Well, I'm not sure on the time difference.
So he's obviously got to allow a bit of time to get you, because for us in the UK, Download is a week. We sort of drive there and drive back again, no problem. But if you're coming, absolutely knackered from such a long flight with all your gear, you've got to adjust. So he's taking a couple of days prior and a couple of days after to take in the local area, that's going to be lovely in the greens of Derbyshire, to relax. I guess it must be such a different environment to Australia. So good on him for doing that. That's a great holiday. And Angela Tartar says that she's travelling 5,000 miles to London, but we don't know who she's going to see. She hasn't replied there, but that's, I mean, 5,000 miles that's more than a coach trip.
Just a touch.
Just a tiny bit. So that's really enlightening. I mean, people travel further than you think, don't they? I mean, it's
yeah,
amazing.
I kind of feel bad now saying I don't travel at all. Like, I go to London from Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire, and you know some people are travelling fucking from Australia.
Yeah, I mean, you can't
Derby.
get much further away than that, can you?
I bet no, you couldn't. That's literally the end of the earth.
It is. So, if you like what you've heard, please give us a review wherever you found us, and look for us on the socials by searching for Festpod. We would love to catch up with you there. But until next time, that's it, and we'll see you again. Bye. A Wilco Productions podcast. This is, hey!